Hello, Mayor Bartley, Vice Mayor Colstrom, council members, and members of the community. My name is Taylor Anderson-Stevenson, and I'm an advocate with the Women's Justice Center. I expect all the city council members have read the letter we recently sent to you regarding law enforcement's mishandling of rape cases and sexual assaults. I am joined today by both of the victims' families I've been working with and that you read about in the letter, along with other concerned members of this community. We have come here today in person to not only protest law enforcement's mishandling of rape, sexual assault, and cases of violence against women, but to emphasize the critical and urgent need for accountability of law enforcement and immediate action for improvements in law enforcement conduct and handling of these cases. The current unacceptable law enforcement handling of rape cases and violence against women has been ongoing for far too long and has serious implications on law enforcement's credibility that puts not only these families but our entire community in danger. Please note that this is not about more training. We are far beyond that. In talking with police alongside these families, I've personally experienced the intimidation techniques used by law enforcement and their condescending, dismissive, and threatening tone in which they address women who have been victims of sexual violence. Aside from the lack of communication and disregard for the trauma these two young girls experienced as victims of rape, they have, along with their families, again been victimized by law enforcement's failure to uphold their rights as victims and human beings. In meeting with Sergeant Anderson, I too experienced the cold hostility, resistance, and contempt toward myself, the victim, and her mother as we expressed our feelings and asked questions about the case. Today you will hear testimony from the mothers of the two child rape survivors and one of the child rape survivors herself about their experience with law enforcement and their pursuit of justice. These courageous families, along with myself and members of the community, are here today not only to share our personal experience with law enforcement's mishandling of rape cases and speak out about the injustices done unto these families, but to assure this council, this community, and our law enforcement officers that this is not the end of it, and we will not be silent about law enforcement's failure to provide equal protection to women and girls. Thank you.
Thank you. Taylor Anderson-Stevenson? No, that was you, sorry. Susanna, sorry.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Susanna, and I'm Yvonne's mom. My daughter confessed to me last March that she was raped when she was 8 years old. So we made a police report to start an investigation. It was when the nightmare begins. First, it took forever to set up an interview after we made the report. We did not hear from the detective for 5 weeks. When finally we heard of the detective, she was very disrespectful, making inappropriate comments which my daughter was crying for many days. On top of this, when the detective talked to me, she brought up something called U-Visa, which I had never heard or knew nothing about. Then she explained it to me like she was accusing my daughter and I of making this rape to get the U-Visa. After this very painful experience, I tried really hard to get another detective on the case, but the Sergeant Taylor Anderson said that she was the best and they have only 3 other detectives in this unit, and they had more important cases going on at the moment. So it will never be possible to give it to somebody else. We felt like nobody was our side, and the police were focused proving us wrong, then getting support to the truth and find my daughter's rapist guilty. When we spoke in person to the sergeant, he was rude and impolite and disrespectful as well. The progress to the justice has been very difficult to my daughter and I. She was a little girl who was marked for the rest of her life, and she has suffering because of these many years. She deserves a normal life. She's afraid to go outside because the rapist knows that she speaks up, and he told her that nobody will believe her. Since going to the law enforcement seeking justice through the system, we have found that he was right and believe. Thank you.
Thank you. Yvonne?
Dear Council, my name is Yvonne, and I am a sexual assault survivor. I was concerned about how my experience would be received, so I was disappointed and disheartened by the treatment my case got from the police. My police officer waited an upsettingly long time to interview me. She waited a month to schedule the interview, and the waiting made me feel that my case was not important. I couldn't stop thinking that the police weren't going to believe me. When the interview came, I was nervous, but I did my best to answer their questions. Throughout the duration of the case, she kept telling me to prepare myself for the case to be denied, and said that my healing was more important than the case, so I should let her handle it and be prepared for the worst. Her comments made me feel that my help was unappreciated and that I was useless. Once Alvaro, the man who assaulted me, became aware of the case, I started feeling really unsafe and became scared to go out because I feared that I would see him and he would confront me. Also, I felt defenseless because the police and the detective weren't giving me support and made me feel that he was more important than me. They doubted me, yet they believed his story. They implied that I made an error and kept asking me if I was sure that he was the right guy. That made me sad and made my fear of not being believed a nightmarish reality. However, I kept offering my help because I don't want any more little girls to be harmed by this man or any more families to suffer. That's why I came to petition that there be more female officers and that a year of community service be required to be a police officer so that they can be more understanding and compassionate, because reporting a sexual assault is not an easy thing. There is no reason to make it harder for these brave people who have stood up for a better world. So please join us in making a change for the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Lydia and Jose?
I'll be reading a statement written by Jose and Lydia, who are the parents of a child rape survivor. We are here in order to tell you that we are disillusioned with the Santa Rosa Police because they don't give importance and respect to child survivors of sex crimes. We want to denounce the abuses of the police in these cases. We don't want others to experience what we are living. For that reason, we are sharing with you our experience in order that other families don't have to live what we are living. In many occasions, these cases remain forgotten and the children feel defrauded by the police. We are supporting our daughter in order that she has a normal life. Thank you.
Thank you.